Hi, this is Brandy with Zoom Roses, and we are actually filming this week in my flower shop. So welcome to my flower shop. So today we're going to talk about something called Fibonacci and the golden ratio. So Fibonacci is a pattern, and it is a set of numbers that we find naturally in everything, in seashells and sunflowers, in the way that storms develop, in lots of places. So it's a sequence of numbers, one of which added to the next one in the pattern becomes the next number. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, so on and so forth. So you have a pattern of 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, so on and so forth. So we see this naturally everywhere. Architects use it, artists use it, and floral designers use it because it helps us with placing flowers where they will look good naturally and be balanced. So it seems quite complicated because mathematics is involved, but it is something that occurs naturally in the world around us. So today we're going to do a very simple floral design that plays with the golden ratio. So let's get started. Okay, so we have a few items that you'll need for today's arrangement. So first of all, I like to get a combo box from Zoom Roses of greenery. The Andean Greens box is one of my favorites. And you'll need maybe a few pieces of Israeli ruscus and a few pieces of leather leaf. The next thing you're going to need is the Zoom Roses Tuscan Sunset box. It is a combination of beautiful carnations, and it also has some of this wonderful green trick. So we're going to use 5 carnations today, any color that you want, and 2 of the green trick. And then 2 stems of mini carnations, any color that you want will work. We do have combo boxes of mini carnations, and we also have a combo box of regular size carnations and mini carnations if you have less students and you need to make less floral arrangements. You're going to need one of these little design bowls and a third of a piece of Oasis foam and a little bit of waterproof tape. So let's get started. First of all, you're going to soak your Oasis foam and place it into the design bowl. And then sometimes I don't have my knife with me at the moment, but I kind of slice off some of the pokey sides of that square of foam. It's just less for me to have to cover. And now I'm going to put some waterproof tape. Now I'm not going to do a crisscross because I actually need the very center of this piece of Oasis foam. So I'm going to do 2 pieces across from each other parallel and just tuck it right underneath the lip of the bowl. Remember, that's a mechanic and you do not want your mechanic showing. So just right underneath the edge of the bowl. Don't go down the side of the bowl. So 1 piece there and 1 piece over here. 2 pieces parallel to each other. That will hold it in quite nicely, and it will allow us to use the center of the design tray. Okay? Just like that. Now, we're going to cover up our mechanics just a little bit. We won't do all of the covering in the beginning. We'll wait until the end. So I'm going to cut up some leather leaf, very small pieces. This is an arrangement that is going to be a formalinear vertical arrangement. I do not want it very wide. I want it very tall, just like that. So I'm going to take small pieces of leather leaf and start covering up my mechanics. I do like to chop leather leaf apart You can also use variegated pittosporum, green pittosporum. If you had Italian ruscus, you could cut it apart and use pieces of that. And that's what I'm going to do with the Israeli ruscus as well. But I just want to go ahead and make sure that I put some coverage around the edges of the bowl and make sure that the foam is covered. Let's see, I'm gonna put that aside. Now the Israeli ruscus, I do like to chop apart Israeli ruscus as well. I'll make several cuts down the stem so that I have several of these very short pieces I can use. Just like that. Going around the edges of the bowl. Now, I won't use all of it at the moment. I'm going to wait and then use the last little bit at the end. But I have quite a bit of coverage now, so we're good. Now, here's where the magic comes in with Fibonacci and the golden ratio. So, if I want my arrangement to be 18 inches tall, and I'm going to have my tallest carnation being 18 inches. So if I were to take that 18 inches and divide it by 1.618, which is the golden ratio, then I would get the height of the next carnation. So as you can see, an arrangement that has this kind of Fibonacci sequence, just like you see in all of these patterns in nature, how it starts out really dense and then it slowly becomes more airy and light. So we're going to start actually at the top just so we can make sure that our arrangement is 18 inches tall, and then we're going to work our way down from there. Now your students can use a few different things. First of all, a piece of wire is exactly 18 inches tall, so if you don't have enough rulers, you can use that as far as letting you know where your top carnation is going to go. Another trick that I do is I will take a ruler and I will just mark it with a dry erase marker of where my carnations need to go, my basic focal flowers. And we are going to create this beautiful line with the carnations. So, if my top carnation needs to be 18 inches tall, I'm not going to cut it at 18 inches. I need to cut it and give it maybe 2 to 2.5 inches to be able to sink down into the foam. So that is almost this entire carnation stem. Okay? So we are going to work from the center of this design bowl. Everything is going to radiate kind of to the same point. So if you need to make a little spot right in the middle with the stem, just so that you know when you're placing your stems in, they all need to kind of go into the foam, even if it's sideways, but they all need to come to a point in the center. Okay? So this carnation is going to be 18 inches tall. All right? Now, if I were to take 18 inches and divide that by the 1.6 and some change, that's what I like to call it, the next point that you're going to get is 11 inches, okay? So this next carnation is going to be placed at 11 inches. So I am actually going to use my ruler here, and I am going to give it a few inches to go into the foam. And I'm going to place it right here, and I'm making this beautiful kind of spiral staircase. What's really important is how the height of each of these carnations, because that's where that golden ratio comes into play. All right, for the next one, let's see, if you took 11 and again you divided it, you would get about 7 inches. We're kind of rounding up and rounding down a little bit. It doesn't have to be exact. So this one is 7 inches. It actually broke off of the stem, so that worked out perfectly. So this one is exactly where it needs to be. I'm gonna give it a nice sharp cut. And then, again, I'm kind of making this nice little spirally staircase. Just like that. So that one should be sitting right at 7 inches. And it is. Perfect. All right. Again, if you divided 7 by that golden ratio number, now you're going to get just a little bit more than 4 inches, like 4 1/4-ish. So for this next one, I'm going to cut it at 4 1/4 and give it a few extra inches to go into the foam. Okay. And now I'm going to go right here. And then our last one we are going to put at 3 inches. 3 inches. That does not make it very tall at all. It's going to go right there at the base. Okay. So it's going to sit just a little bit underneath this one. So you have 18 inches, 11 inches, 7, 4 1/4-ish, and about 3 inches. So according to the golden ratio and to Fibonacci, these are well balanced for the eye. And we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is part of the Fibonacci sequence. So we are going to now put 2 pieces of this green trick at the base. And this is just going to pull your eye down into the more dense part of the arrangement. So I'm going to put one of these. And these are so fun and very, they have a lot of impact, I guess you would say. So we're gonna put this one here. And then I'm going to go to the back left, and I'm going to sink this one down below that first carnation as well, as much as I possibly can. So we're actually playing with Fibonacci and the golden ratio in several different ways in this arrangement. So first of all, we are using it to decide the height of the flowers in the arrangement, but I'm also playing with the exact numbers of the different flowers that we're putting in the arrangement. So I have 2 of the green trig and then 5 of the carnations. And now we are going to take 2 stems of our mini carnations, and we're going to cut them in a couple of places to where we have placements of mini carnations in 3 different spots. But it doesn't stop there. If you want to, you can actually count the number of blooms on the mini carnations, and you can have 8. So there are actually 8 mini carnation blooms here. So we are going to take one of these mini carnation stems and cut it so that we have this little tuft right here and then a taller tuft. And I want to take this taller one and I'm going to have it dance right around that 11-inch spot right here. I want it to accent the movement of this arrangement. Okay, so I'm going to sink this one down here just like that. All right, maybe a little bit above. And I'm going to put this little one aside for the moment. And then I'm going to bring this, and again, I just want it to accent the natural movement we have going with the placement of these carnations. So again, if you want to have some fun with it, you can actually count the blooms. Right now I have 1, 2, 3. I'm not really counting this other one here. I'm going to turn this around though. Sometimes you have to work with the angles and the way that the flowers are naturally bloomed out. Sometimes they can't be manipulated. And then I'm going to put some right here and just tuck it down in to accent the natural movement we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I count this little one 7, and here's one 8. You can actually add some more if you'd like. Now I'm going to go back through and I'm going to check the placement of everything. I'm going to turn this around for a second and take a look at it, make sure I'm happy with it. I want to make sure that these carnations are all spaced out correctly. The carnations actually will start spreading out more and more the higher that you go. So remember, in Fibonacci, in the middle of that spiral where everything starts, everything's more dense, and then it kind of spirals out. So it becomes more light and airy the higher that you go. There we go. Let's see, I'm gonna play with a few of these things. Oh, I like that better. So sometimes you just have to use the natural eye to make a decision as to where things belong. We as florists can naturally see what looks balanced and what doesn't look balanced, but the math behind it is Fibonacci and the golden ratio. Okay, so this definitely needs some more greenery. So we're gonna go through and just fill in where it needs to be filled in. You can add some curly willow to this. You could add some Italian ruscus if you wanted one beautiful piece of Italian ruscus coming up. It just depends on what you have. And like I said, the mixed box of Andean greens or any of the mixed boxes of greenery from Zoom Roses is actually a really good option for you because it gives you a variety of what you might need in the classroom. And the colors of the carnations in the Tuscan Sunset box is absolutely amazing. You're not going to get any basic carnations in that box. And a lot of those colors are great for this time of year, the ones that are great for Christmas and for Thanksgiving, for the winter time. So I would definitely encourage you to take a look at that box, and you do get 2 bunches of the green trick. So, all right, so we've covered up all of our greenery now. We have our carnations that are perfectly spaced according to the golden ratio. We have our 2 green trick at the base, which is our accent. And then we have our three stems of mini carnations that actually have 8 blooms. So this has been really fun being able to play with the golden ratio and Fibonacci. So I hope your students enjoy this, and I hope they don't mind the mathematics, but it's definitely part of floral design. So enjoy having fun with this one.